Frank here.
We do. Caller.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we hear you. What's going on? How you doing? Thanks for joining us here in the Daddy versus Doctor show. Dr. Scott Cohen, Sebastian Maniscalco. We understand from our crack team here of producers that your son has a problem getting his hair cut.
Yeah. So he didn't have a problem before. The first few times we took him to the barber, he actually looked forward to it. He actually pointed. He said, "Daddy, I need a haircut." So he would actually take him to the barber. I think I went maybe 3 times, and then all of a sudden he just wouldn't sit in the chair. He was kicking and screaming like crazy. So I left, didn't go back. Tried cutting it at home a few times, and that didn't go over well at all. He just same reaction, just kicked and screamed like crazy. And then I went a third time to the barber, and I literally had to restrain him to the seat. The barber had taken a chunk out already, so we were in it. So it felt awful. But I don't know what to do. He won't sit still for the haircut, and it's just it's brand new. He just started doing this. So
How old?
2.5. Leonardo too. I think you'd appreciate that.
Okay, so 2.5 years old, won't get his hair cut. Liked it, now he doesn't like it. We had a big problem with our son getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
All right. Then after he looked in the mirror and saw how stunning he was, he's like, let's do this again. And
he gets haircuts every
he
week.
gets haircuts
every time I see him. It's is that a 1 and a 3 and a 5? I mean, he's got the numbers going. Yeah.
This is what we did. I don't know if you're into it. We're not big on giving iPad or iPhone. However, while he got his haircut, we put his favorite cartoon on the iPhone, and it kind of distracted him, and he got his haircut that way. Some parents are like, no, I'm not using the device as a distraction. But for us, every
short term, why not?
Short term, if it quells his fears, did it work?
No, tried the same thing. Yeah, we put on Toy Story while I tried to cut it at home. They have actually iPads at the barber. Still no go. It's funny though. As soon as everything was done, the haircut was over, I said, "Okay, buddy, it's done." And he just looked up and said, "Thank you," and walked out. So it's like a temporary fear. As soon as everything's done, he's fine. And if I say we're going to get a haircut, he doesn't really freak out until we get there. As soon as we get there, he has this reaction. And like I said, it's new. He used to sit still perfectly fine. I don't know if it's a new fear he's developing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. Is it one of those kid-friendly barbers, where he's sitting on something cool or they're doing fun things?
Sort of, yeah. They have the iPad there for them. They interact with the kid quite a bit. But the kid's running around with his botched haircut. And I'm trying to resolve the issue.
Yeah.
So,
I think distraction tools, like you said. Yeah. Distraction tools. And then sometimes going with a buddy. I don't know if he has a friend that he likes that you could go at the same time. Because sometimes seeing somebody else's own age do it, that he knows, is helpful. And then sometimes, sitting on your lap where you're sort of hugging him and just getting through the experience in a gentle way, but him realizing at the end that actually it's okay. Because it could be a real fear and anxiety that he doesn't like. But the fact after that he's just like, oh, okay, and he doesn't freak out when you're going, it's probably more of a temporary behavioral thing. And I think those are sort of the techniques.
So, I also got my hair cut from the same barber that my son got it from. So I sat down, got my hair cut first. He saw that Daddy did it, and then he had no problem doing it. So we were fortunate, I think, to be lucky in the sense that that wasn't a huge speed bump. But I know a lot of people who have that problem, that the kid getting their haircut. Does he have long hair? Is it short like yours?
No, not as short as mine. He has beautiful hair. I'm losing it, so he's lucky to still have some. But he's still, it's like mid-length, not crazy long.
Cool.
Yeah. I tried cutting it with the clippers at home, like I said, just because it was getting unruly. I thought maybe doing it at home would be easier, but I'll try that. Maybe going to the same place. I think that's a good idea. I think that might work. Maybe just seeing Daddy do it, try to copy it.
Or isolate. I don't know if there's a specific thing that upsets him. If it's the noise of the clipper or the actual cutting the hair. Some people feel, if it's, they think it's painful. It's obviously not, or feeling a loss with the hair. But if you pinpoint it, revert, like when you go to the dentist, sometimes you get ingrained that just hearing the drill is scary.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's something there that he's reacting to, but if not, doing it together would be a good idea. Yeah.
From Canada?
No, it's not. Yeah. Like outside of Toronto a little bit.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it. You can always tell these Canadians, they got this accent.
Hey.
It just pops.
Hey, yeah.
Did you hear it at all?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't think it was A.
Was it A?
It's about. Is it like about?
About?
Is that what I
Say
did?
about. Say about.
About.
Yeah, there's like a twang there. Any other questions for the doctor?
Not just that. My initial question was about kind of the differences my wife and I have on parenting. I think I'm a bit more like, old school Italian. I have a bit more common sense, right? Like it's kind of the way I like to, parent. But you kind of just use your common sense. Meanwhile, I think he's seen more healthcare professionals than I have in my entire life. He's gone to an he has orthotics on his feet. He's got the speech therapy, hearing test, goes to a naturopath every 2 weeks. My wife gives him all these vitamins. I just thought it was funny, the distinction between the two styles. I think there's a time for both, though. That's what we try to blend, right? And, is there a time for common sense and a time to, intervene, I guess.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Your way, the Italian way, is the only way. And
because you use the word common sense, he liked that. He's going to go home tonight and go, I'm this way because it's common sense.
No, it is a lot of the parenting that comes from immigrant backgrounds, whether you be Greek, Spanish, Italian. A lot of that is just common sense, no frills upbringing. You don't got to introduce all the, what the hell is it? Would you say a neuropath? What the hell?
Naturopath.
No,
what's that?
Naturopath. Like, he had an ear infection. She wanted us to roast garlic and olive oil and put it into his ear.
Find alternative treatments for.
What are we making? A salad?
Yeah. So, yeah. I think, you can always have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, right? And somebody will always tell you what to do, and it could be different than everybody else. It's finding somebody who you trust. Focusing on there. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, I guess there's like the preventative versus kind of let it be, and I think that's where we kind of clash a little bit. Like where it'll work itself out, right? Like things tend to, but early intervention. I think I guess it's a question for Dr. Scott. Like at what point is that? Are there certain things you would say, yes, just try everything, or are there other things that are maybe you can let slip a little bit?
To your point, especially with a husband and wife who have different viewpoints. One may be more naturopathic, one may be more medical, or, let's go down that path. I think there's a place for both, and it really just depends when it becomes a true medical issue for the child. And here's a good example, like ear infections. It used to be you came in with an ear infection, you left with antibiotics. And then we learned that 80% of ear infections are actually viral. And if you give them a day or two, they often resolve on their own. They don't all need antibiotics. So how do you judge? You come into me and the child has a cold and I see an ear infection, but they're not really complaining. They look good. I'll probably give you a prescription for antibiotics and say, hold it for a day or two and see if they start complaining of ear pain or they develop fever. It went the wrong direction, start it. As opposed to it may heal on its own. And doing other types of remedies, garlic or drops, is it going to do anything? I don't know. Does it hurt? Probably not. But when you get to the point where it could be something dangerous, like the child has pneumonia and they're having trouble breathing, and I know if you don't take the antibiotics, you wait and try something else first, it could be dangerous to the child. That's really when you want to take, I feel, the medical route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually have the same issue. He's had 6 ear infections in a year. Mm-hmm. He was on 2 sets of antibiotics within 4 weeks, and I had that. Let's wait a little bit. Wait a few more days and see if it works itself out. We ended up having to give him the antibiotics. It started to flare up, and that was the question we had. I said, can he just fight it off on his own, or can it actually? Do you need 2 rounds of antibiotics in a 2.5-year-old in 6 weeks or 5 weeks? That seems like a lot.
Yeah, but it's not as uncommon as you think, especially we forget, the last 2 years were a little bit of aberration with COVID, that we didn't see kids as sick as much with the normal viruses that we see. And you have to remember that most kids get 10 to 12 illnesses in the first 2 years of their life. And most of those illnesses happen between September and March. So it seems like they're nonstop sick. And when kids get ear infections, often They'll get recurrent ear infections when they get sick back to back to back, especially in the wintertime. So unfortunately, it's not as unusual if they truly had an ear infection that needed antibiotics and then they got another one. Actually, sometimes you need a stronger antibiotic to knock it out, and waiting doesn't work. That's the hard part.
Listen,
Yeah.
It's
got the.
if Serafina has an earache and I call you, say her ear hurts, and you tell me cut some cilantro and a peach,
I wouldn't do that, right? I wouldn't give you that option. I would say you can give it a day if I don't think it's a severe infection. Or like what happened just recently last month. She had ear pain, she had new fever, she had a cold, ear infection. She started antibiotics, she was better the next day.
we weren't chopping broccoli.
So,
That was kind of making light of the situation.
I got it.
You went right
I was okay.
No, he went right into his medical head. No, what's going to happen? Okay, take it easy. Thank you for calling into the show.
you.
I hope you learned something. Have fun up there in Canada. Stay warm.
Yeah.
And we appreciate your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Listen, again, it's not that I'm opposed to the natural way.
No, I don't do it either.
Okay?
It's not something I know about.
I'm just, you know, I don't want to get comments. Oh, you're a paid pawn
To the medical establishment.
okay?
Exactly.
Not
Me either.
making
It's
any.
just, look, we were I was trained in medicine.
Yeah.
I know that medicine. I don't know the homeopathic remedies as well.
Yeah.
In general, if I know they're not going to do harm and somebody wants to try it and the kid's going to be okay, there's no harm in doing that. But if I know that something will get better with medicine, why not use medicine?
Absolutely. I grew up with a homeopathic route. I had a fever. They put sliced potatoes on my head to reduce the fever. So it's not like I'm against it. But anyway.
That's why you always smell like French fries.
The opinions expressed in this program are not intended as professional medical advice, as a diagnosis, as a treatment protocol, or as a substitute for professional medical advice from your physician. Please consider your own medical history and consult with your own physician for your specific healthcare and/or medical needs and about your concerns for yourself and your family.